Hey guys, it's Mr. Mock, and we're in Chapter 7, and I wanted to make a quick video going over how to solve radical equations. And I've got 3 examples that I'm going to go through today. The first one is right there in front of you. So we're solving equations just like we normally would. We're targeting that x and trying to isolate it. All right. So let me get my pen here. I'll go with blue. Why not? And thin line here. So the first thing we're looking at is we've got the x underneath the radical. We need to make sure that we get everything around it gone first. So you start with what's furthest away. What's furthest away is that negative 10. It's negative 10 plus the square root of 2x plus 1. So because we have that plus sign right here, we know we're going to have to get rid of this 10 either using addition or subtraction. Because it's a negative 10, we're going to go ahead and do the opposite of negative 10, which is positive 10. And we're going to add positive 10 on both sides. So, whoa, not working very well here. Left my stylus at home, so, woo, that turned out okay. So what we end up getting then is we're going to have the square root of 2x plus 1 equals negative 5 and a positive 10 is a positive 5, right? So now we've got to get rid of this square root of 2x plus 1. So the opposite of the square root is to square it. So we're going to go ahead and square. So I'm going to highlight this with a new color here. I'll go with green. We're going to square both sides, right? Because doing the square of a square root eliminates that square root. So we're going to have 2x plus 1, because that square root's gone, equals 25. Alright? So now this is just like any equation that you've been doing for 4 years now. Alright? 2x plus 1 equals 25. We can solve this. This isn't too crazy. Let me move my screen up here and change color again, because we're doing a new step. So we want to go ahead and subtract 1 on both sides. We get 2x equals 24. And then from there you divide by 2 on both sides so that you get your final answer of x equals 12. Final answer, x equals 12. Alright? And then you can go back and check that answer, take the 12, put it into the original equation. Alright? 2 times 12 is 24 plus 1 is 25. So I'm, underneath the radical right now. The square root of 25 is 5. Negative 10 plus 5 is negative 5. And looks like we got the right answer. So those would be the steps in how we go about working that very first example. Alright? So I'll back up and let you take a look at that. Add 10 on both sides. Square both sides to get rid of that square root. And then it's a normal equation, you subtract and then divide. Alright? Let's move on to the second example. So here we find our x. Oops, yep, right there. And we look at what's around it. So we have the parentheses surrounding it and the 1, and we're putting that to the 3/5 power. So we have the 3 on the outside. We need to get rid of that. Now there's not an addition or subtraction between the 3 and the parentheses, which means in order to get rid of that, we are going to have to divide both sides by 3. Alright? So now we're going to have x plus 1 to the 3/5 power equals 8. Alright? And now here's where it might get a little confusing. It's a little different anyway. We can't just square both sides. We have this whole 3/5 power thing, which looks a little crazy. But in order to get rid of the 3/5 power, you have to put it to the reciprocal power of that. Now reciprocal is where you flip the fraction. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this whole thing and put it to the reciprocal power. So the reciprocal of 3/5 is, check it out, 5/3. So we're going to put that to the 5/3 power, which means we have to put 8, oops, parentheses got a little weird there, to the 5/3 power as well, right? So what ends up happening is, the 5s will cross-reduce and the 3s cross-reduce, right? And you get x plus 1 to the power of 1, which is just x plus 1. equals, and now here we have 8 to the 5/3 power. So this is a little lesson for those of you that are maybe not remembering. Let's just kind of clear the board here for a second and rewrite this over to the side. We've got 8 to the, ooh, there's a squished 8 to the 5/3 power, which is the same as saying the cubed root of 8 to the 5th power. All right, excuse my handwriting here. So 8 to the 5/3 power, you use the denominator as your root, you use the 5 is what you're putting it to the power to. So the cubed root of 8 is 2, right? 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. So the cubed root of 8 is 2. 2 to the 5th power, that's where you're going to do 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, which is going to end up giving you 32. All right, so this whole 8 to the 5/3 power is 32. So let's go back. Let's take that answer back over here and write that in. 32. Oh, look at that. 32 turned out pretty nice. And now we want to finish this up. I'll go with red. Subtract 1 on both sides. And look at that. X equals 31. All right, so now we've done 2 problems, had a little bit of a review of the rational exponent, so the fraction exponent, 8 to the 5/3, did a little review of that, and now it's going to be time to, I'll got you zoomed out here, so remember the reciprocal power. We're going to practice this one more time, but with this problem here. The third one. All right, so I'm going to start with black ink, I think, here. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm dividing by 2. All right, so I'm going to have x minus 2 to the 2/3 power equals 25. All right, now it's 2/3 power, so I have to do the reciprocal of that. So I have to flip it. So I'm going to do the reciprocal of 2/3, which is I'm putting that all to the power of 3/2, putting this then to the power of 3/2. Oh, that's so exciting, right? So what you end up getting then is you got your x minus 2 equals 25 to the 3/2 power. So we start with that denominator of 2. That means square root. What's the square root of 25? Well, the square root of 25 is plus or minus 5, right? There's a positive 5 and a negative 5. Then you want to cube that, right? That's what the 3 in that numerator stands for. So now you've got plus or minus 5 cubed, 5 times 5 times 5. So what you get, and this is super important, is plus or minus 125. You have to have both the positive and the negative answer, right? So now what happens is we're going to have 2 answers for this one, which is pretty cool, or maybe you don't like that, but I think it's pretty cool. So you're going to do x minus 2 equals not only 125, but also x minus 2 equals negative 125. Ooh, am I gonna? Oh, that didn't work out very well. Let me erase. Go back. Go back. Back. I tell you. Uno mas. Boom. Equals negative 1. 2, oh, ran out of room again, 5. But yeah, you get the idea. So then you'd add 2 on both sides for both of these. Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. And you finally get x equals 127. And x equals negative 123. negative 1, 2, 3. All right, so zoom out for just a sec. Oops. So you can see that. Opposite reciprocal on both sides. Because it's a square root, because of that 2 denominator, you're going to have 2 answers. Whereas on the top here, we have the 3 denominator, 1 answer. 2 as the denominator, you can have the plus or minus, which means it's going to lead you to the 2 answers. Alright, sorry for the little sloppiness there. I'm going to find my stylus again. And yeah, I hope that helps. Alright guys, I'll talk to you later.